If you ask anyone off the street what their favorite Mario Kart game is, then chances are they're gonna say Mario Kart Wii. For those of you that were at all conscious during that time period it was released, it cannot be overstated just how big the Wii was. It was a borderline trend to get your hands on one of these bricks. I remember tagging along with my grandma for a doctor's appointment for some reason, and in the waiting room there was a Wii. This shit was serious. If you were the one kid in the neighborhood who didn't have a Wii, tough toenails, fuckface. With the success of the Wii came the success of Mario Kart Wii, one of the most insane additions to the franchise. People call this game the Smash Bros. Melee of the Mario Kart franchise, which in kitchen terms means the knife of forks. There are people still playing this game to this day, and as one of those poor unfortunate souls, I want to take this time to rank every single track that the game has to offer. I'll only be including the tracks that are playable in the Grand Prix mode, so no battle mode arenas. If Funky Stadium was viable though, it'd crack the top 10, so I hope that suffices. We're gonna stick to my usual format for my rankings and rank every track in order, from the Mushroom Cup to the Lightning Cup, and see where they rank from S tier to F tier, S tier being the best and vice versa. Alright, enough intro, let's dive right into the rankings, starting with... Fuck. Luigi's Circuit, a great track to play if you have the memory of a goldfish. It's a glorified tutorial track, so it obviously doesn't have as much meat on its bones compared to the other tracks in the game, but even still, it's about as basic as you can get. There's like one shortcut, two if you count this one that I completely fucked up while playing, and like... yeah, that's about it. There's a statue of Luigi that changes to a statue of your Mii during the end credits, as well as if you play as your Mii during a race. I never unlocked the Mii on my original save file that's probably just rotting away in my parents' storage room, so when I was younger, I kept trying different ways to get the statue to change to my Mii, like trying different cart and character combinations. Needless to say, I was a fucking moron. The only thing this track really has going for it is the fact that it's the location of the end credits of the game, which is one of the greatest end credits to anything ever. All in all though, this track is a D tier. It's fine as a starter track, but no way in hell are you willingly going back to replay it. This might be one of the first hot takes of the video, but I've never really understood the hype of Moo Moo Meadows. Like, yeah, cool, the cows look cute, but that's about all it has going for it. The ending segment of the track where you boost off of this part and drive through all the patches of grass is pretty fun, and I like it when you're driving and the stupid cows walk in the way and you have to make a really tight make it or break it turn. Other than that though, this track is pretty boring. I'm not really a fan of farm themed tracks, so that might also have to do with my slight dislike of this course. The song of the track is pretty decent, but it's not exactly one I'd pick as background music for my videos. Overall, I'd give it a C. It's better in Mario Kart 8. Alright, thank God, we got a good one. Mushroom Gorge has gotta be up there as one of the most iconic Mario Kart tracks. If you played this game as a kid, try sitting down and telling me to my face that you didn't have a blast bouncing off the mushrooms near the end of the course, trying not to bounce too far off the green mushroom so you completely miss the mushroom in front of you like my dumbass did right here. The theme of this course is really unique, and the execution is fantastic, with just enough bouncy mushrooms so that the race doesn't give you motion sickness. The alternate routes of the course are fun, and that's a variety, especially in the cave with all the mushrooms. The music of this course is iconic as well, perfectly fitting the literal bounciness of the course with a ton of energetic syncopation. This course is also the location of that one batshit insane ultra shortcut where you climb up the mountain and it somehow counts as a lap. And you can somehow do this for all 3 laps. How the fuck do people find this out? While this course is great though, I wouldn't personally put it up there as one of my favorites. Nevertheless, it's still a very good track. I'm giving it an A tier. Yep, it's all over my pants. Toad's Factory is an instant S tier. Even before I started writing this video, hell, even before I came up with the idea for this video, this track was an S tier in my eyes. I mean, to start it off with a theme song like this, how can you not like this track? It's so fun and energetic while still retaining the mechanical vibes of a factory. In this case, Toad's Factory. I love the idea that this is where the item boxes in the game are being made, and driving through the whole process is extremely fun. I love this one area where you're trying to time driving on these conveyor belts perfectly without getting squashed by hydraulic presses from above, and then jumping off the ramp and trying to avoid all these stupid boxes. It adds some difficulty to the track and can really fuck up your momentum if your timing and or luck is just not good that day. Same applies to the ending area with the mud and the tractors that can block the speed panels if you're not fast enough. It's incredibly satisfying getting those things, especially if they're just about to get covered up as you enter the area. This red area used to scare the shit out of me when I was younger. Everything about this track is just fantastic. Up there is one of my favorites for sure. Easy S tier. Easy S tier. Luigi once again gets absolutely mogged by Mario, as Mario Circuit is the absolute superior circuit. in this game anyway. Calling Mario Circuit absolutely superior isn't really saying much though. It's one of the most average tracks in the game, if not slightly above average. The segment with the chain chomp is pretty fun because that little fuckwad just comes crashing out at the worst possible time, and I love the turns you gotta take before making it to the finish line with all the item boxes and the Goombas. I hate the fact that when you use the shortcut above the chain chomp, you have to hop a little bit out of the grass and then end up just hitting the wall. You might as well just avoid using the ramp during that section. This track also shares the same music with Luigi's Circuit for whatever reason. I have no idea why this is the case. Maybe they just ran out of time developing the game or something. I love how close quarters this track can be at times, especially in the final turns with all the grass and trees and stuff along with the Goombas. This section in particular can make for some extremely tense moments, especially for on the final lap. I'm feeling a beat here for this one. Wow, peaking a little early there, aren't we? I don't know a single person who dislikes Coconut Mall or thinks it isn't one of the best Mario Kart tracks ever. What's that? There's only one person who dislikes Coconut Mall? Hold up, let me just find a picture of them real quick. Yep, thought so. Call it an overrated track all you'd like, but there's no denying that it's overrated for a very good reason. Coconut Mall is really fucking good. Easily the most iconic track in the franchise's history. The theme song for it might just be one of the most famous pieces of music Nintendo's ever composed. There's gotta be a whole fan base at this point dedicated just to this song. The atmosphere is so lively, what with all of the Miis standing in the crowd and the dudes from Sunshine dancing around in the background, and it makes sense that it's this way because, well, it's a mall. The idea of a bunch of characters driving around in the mall is executed so brilliantly here. The concept is taken advantage of to its full potential. You got the escalators that you gotta figure out if they go up or down in a matter of seconds, fountains and palm trees to do tricks on, that huge jump at the end with a sign saying thank you, this really frustrating section with all the cars going back and forth. This section used to piss me off so badly. What else could you want? Peak Mario Kart, no notes, 10 out of 10, easiest S tier on the list. The only real problem with this track is that every other remake of it just cannot compare to the original. Like in Mario Kart 7, there's like 0 people in the building other than the people in the parking lot, and the escalators have these arrows that point which way they're going, and it's like, no! You took the fun part out of it! You're supposed to choose the wrong one on accident and get pissed off and angry. It builds character! Then they brought it back in Mario Kart 8, and man, they just butchered the visuals. It's not completely horrific, but comparing this version to the original is like comparing a really good apple to a really bad apple. They're still apples, but one is just significantly better. Brilliant metaphor, Beat Rice. Anyways, next track. DK Summon is one of the more fun tracks to play on in this game. The moment you blast out of this cannon, the entire rest of the track is chock full of boost panels and half bites that you can do tricks off of. Which is perfect considering that this is DK Summit. Donkey Kong's a monkey and does tricks and stuff, so this track also allows you to do tricks and stuff. It's genius. My favorite segment of the track is this part right here, where you do a bunch of tricks off of the little snow bumps, and then you can take this shortcut here to skip a chunk of the track. You can actually do this shortcut twice, but I only do the first one because I'm a pussy. The second part with the big half pipe and the Shy Guy snowboarding is also really fun too, and I like the detail of the clouds clearing up in the sky, causing the track to end on a bright note. It's a nice touch. Overall, it's a solid track, no notes. Well, actually there is one note, but we'll get to that later. I'm feeling an A tier for this track. Oh god, not this one. Wario's Goldmine was the one track that always kicked my ass, and still kicks my ass to this very day. I love that this course only ever has walls on the side of the tracks whenever it feels like it. I hate whenever I'm wheeling at this segment where all the bats come flying at you, and then it completely messes up your momentum and you go from first to fucking 8th. I mean, not that this has ever happened to me. I'm a god gamer, I can't lose. They nerfed the difficulty of this track immensely in Mario Kart 8 by adding the anti-gravity mechanic to the mine carts, which kind of defeats the purpose of these carts. Like, they're supposed to hurt you. You're supposed to be pissed off when the trajectory of the cart forces you to take the long way instead of the shortcut. I love the music of this track, and I especially love the atmosphere of the whole thing, with the sunrise coming up on all these little houses in the background where all the miners live. No, down! Get down! Did you know that you can hop off this pipe near the end of the track, hit the wall here, drive across the finish line, and it'll count as a lap? This game is stupid! A great track, but not one that I would call my favorite. Feeling a B tier. This track is the ultimate definition of the word solid. While I wouldn't call Daisy Circuit one of the better Mario Kart Wii tracks per se, it has a lot going for it that makes it stand out from the others. The music for this track is fantastic and fits the relaxing tropical setting excellently. Speaking of which, the vibes of this course are unbelievable. This would be the perfect place to have a vitamin water at. The layout of this track is kinda whatever, with a few little fountains to drive around and like one shortcut that kinda sucks dick. I like the part where you drive in the tunnel, and I especially love these little cones that you can drive into that bounce all over the place when you hit hit them. I wish they didn't slow down your speed because I would be dive bombing these little fuckers like it's Pearl Harbor. Overall, I'd give it a B tier. Oh ho ho, we got a good one. Koopa Cape is another very iconic track in the Mario Kart series with a ton to offer in terms of sheer variety. One of the aspects that make this track stand out is its theme song. Koopa Cape is the perfect example of just how good Nintendo's music can be at capturing such a specific emotion and representing such a specific environment. You listen back to these songs on your own time and you can just feel yourself racing down these tracks in your head, and Koopa Cape's theme is no exception. Allow me to break it down. You see on the third bar, the melody is placed on a D major chord, and nah, I'm just kidding, I'm not that smart. Koopa Cape is another one of the more fun tracks to race in this game, as you go from inside this cave looking area to taking a sharp turn into a river to going down this pipe. Oh, this area here, man. I've always loved this underwater area with the see-through glass so you can watch all the fish swim by as you get distracted and get shocked by this stupid lightning rotation device. It feels like I'm a kid walking through those big exhibits in an aquarium. The problem is that they changed this in every other version of Koopa Cape to make it so that you're actually driving underwater, which takes a lot away from it in my opinion. This track is incredibly fun to race on, but I wouldn't personally consider it one of the best, though it's pretty damn close. I'm feeling a very high A tier. Oh my god, what are they feeding the Star Cup? Maple Treeway is up there as one of the coziest Mario Kart tracks to race on. Even as you're trying your best not to fall off the stupid tree branches and bouncing on the big metal chain net thingy, there's always this really peaceful vibe to it. The warm colors, the happy looking wigglers, the amazing theme song, it's all great. Not only are the vibes of this track amazing, but the layout of it is extremely inventive, with most of it taking place on, well, a tree. My favorite part has got to be at the beginning where you blast out of the cannon, drive along this area, and then on this really sharp turn of this branch, I like to drive insanely tight so that you can barely make it onto the area with all the wigglers. I know it made more sense to replace the net area with a glider area in Mario Kart 7, but jumping around on the net is just objectively more fun. Hashtag Hot Take Tuesday. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a light S tier. The Star Cup ends with yet another fantastic track. I love the eerie, almost post-apocalyptic feeling that the track is going for, what with the track literally falling apart on itself as each lap goes by, along with a spooky, prehistoric sounding music. This track is the location of probably one of the most famous ultra shortcuts in the Mario Kart franchise, where you hop off the pole on the left and drive around on the rock 3 times to count 3 laps. This is one of those shortcuts that probably everybody knows about. Hell, my mom and dad have probably heard about it at some point. My favorite aspect of this track is the aforementioned gimmick where the track falls apart on itself as the race continues on, almost like a, dare I say it, volcano! I love how this gimmick heightens the difficulty of the level by the final lap. In fact, this track might be the one that I've fallen off the most on, as can be seen by one of my time trials ghosts that I was racing against. Oops. This area here where you're jumping from platform to platform can be especially difficult if you're not balancing your speed very well. I don't think it's an amazing course by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a very good course nonetheless. Giving it a B tier. Desert levels in Mario Kart usually suck dick, but this is one of those rare cases where they don't suck dick. Dry Ruins takes advantage of the desert theme about 100 times better than most other desert courses in Mario Kart, adding more than one element than just sand. You drive on sand. There's hills sometimes, and the hills have sand. Instead, halfway through the course, it has you enter these abandoned ruins, wink wink, where you jump off these half pipes across the sand. It's extremely fun. Then you got another case where the level changes over time, though it's a lot less intense than in Grumble Volcano. With each passing lap, the sand begins to fill this section of the track more and more until you're no longer able to drive through it without a mushroom or some other speed-related item. This track has a ton of twists and turns that makes it stand out from other desert courses in the series, and the amount of shortcuts you can make in this track is insane. You'd think that'd be enough to satiate speedrunners, right? It didn't. This game was programmed with sand. The only real problem with this track is that the theme music for it is only pretty good. Again, another problem with desert courses. Nintendo only allows like 3 instruments to represent the desert. Other than that though, great track. Never thought I'd be saying this, but Dry Ruins is getting an A tier. This track is evil. Shit! Fuck! Son of a... bitch. The fantastic atmosphere and music of the track are just enough to distract you from the disgusting difficulty spike from the last track. The layout is pretty basic, but like, it's a highway, of course it's gonna be basic. This course would only be reserved for dumb goo goo gaga babies if it weren't for the ungodly amount of cars that can just pummel you on this track. This one turn you gotta take to get onto the bridge is especially evil, because you can't see any cars around the corner. So you either have to play it safe and drift tightly on the little area away from the road, or try risking it to save time. When I was younger, that bomb car was the stuff of nightmares. If one of your asshole friends decided to be funny and threw a shell at it, you would have been boned. I'm feeling another A tier. Alright, we finally made it to Mario Kart Wii spin on Bowser's Castle. This one has a ton going on, ranging from a more haunted vibe with this part at the beginning with the wavy floor, to something more mechanical like with a big-ass Bowser machine that spits fireballs at you. And then of course, you got the thwomps that try and crush you, an element included in every single iteration of Bowser's Castle except Mario Kart 8 for whatever reason. While I think that this is a good Bowser's Castle, I wouldn't personally go as far as to call it one of my favorites. It kind of feels like it's going through the motions of your usual Bowser's Castle track. Boom, enter the castle, avoid the thwomps, big Bowser, gotta run! Escape the castle, enter the castle, repeat. Again, not a bad course, I just don't prefer it compared to the other Bowser's Castles is. For whatever reason, and you probably know this already, but I want to share it anyway, the melody of this track is the exact same as the one from Maple Tree Way, just slowed down. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. Fucking Toby Fox made this game. This Showtime poster has always bewildered me. Wouldn't it make more sense to put it at the front of the castle and not right as you're exiting it? You'd think that'd be a fun little in-universe way to set your expectations. Maybe it's trying to prep you for this area with a zits in the ground exploding lava, but this area lasts like 3 seconds and you can literally see the finish line in front of you through all of it. Barely even a show. 0 out of 10 design choice. Hashtag fire Miyamoto. I'm giving this track a B for Bowser's Castle. Man, we're really going from an alright iteration to one of the best iterations of Mario Kart. Mario Kart Wii's take on Rainbow Road has gotta be one of the most iconic out of all of the Rainbow Roads. With its especially high difficulty and fantastic music, and also the fact that you fall to the earth and burn to a crisp if you fall off. The atmosphere of the track, you're in space, there is no atmosphere, doy, is amazing. And I love all the insane twists and turns that you're gonna make extremely carefully on account of the fact that there are barely any walls to keep you from falling. This track is also the location of that one weird video that shows up in people's recommendations that for some reason cannot be searched on YouTube. Holy shit, 30 million views? I love the little Easter egg of the star bits from Mario Galaxy appearing in this one area of the track, and I especially love that the music of the track includes the motif from Good Egg Galaxy. It's an amazing closing track for the Special Cup, and easily one of the most memorable, as I have family members that have PTSD from trying to play this track. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. Go, 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 go! Hooray! I got 1 star. I'm feeling a very solid S tier for this one. It's finally time to cover the second half of this list, the retro courses. The Shell Cup, arguably one of the shortest cups in the whole game, starts off with Peach Beach, and I mean, it's fine. Other than the nice tropical vibe and some other fun Easter eggs, like the dudes from Sunshine cheering you on in the sidelines. What are they called again? Oh, piñatas! This course doesn't really have much. I remember these little quacking fuckers being my absolute worst nightmare driving on this course. If you're not careful, you can get stun locked by these things and get flipped like 40 times. Overall, it's nothing special. It doesn't really have a ton going for it, unless you played a lot of Mario Sunshine growing up, which I unfortunately didn't. I'm feeling a C tier. It's better than Moo Moo Meadows at least. Before we begin, I want you to take a look at this image right here. Do you notice anything wrong? You might have said, hey, it says that you're in first place, yet Baby Mario is ahead of you. That's because I nearly overlapped him by accident while playing this course. This is the magic of Yoshi Falls. People talk about playing on Yoshi Falls like they were passing a kidney stone in the middle of it, but I personally am a firm, god-honest defender of this track. Is it unbelievably short and simple for a Mario Kart track? Yes, absolutely. But that's the beauty of it. It's so dumb, short, and simple that it goes back around to being a great track. The circular nature of the course makes it so that you don't have these long-ass areas of you just driving in a straight line and not doing anything, something that a lot of tracks, even good ones on this list, suffer from. You're always constantly drifting, and it's fun to drift on tight corners near the edge of the track. I can't really realistically give it a high score due to its simplicity, but you know what? Still getting a B tier. A track that unironically scared me a little bit when I was a wee baby boy. It's another track that I can't really rank too high due to its sheer simplicity, but it's also a track that I think is very fun regardless. This track is probably one of my favorite atmospheres of any track in the game, what with the spooky, ominous music, the boos phasing in and out of the sky, these blocks that fall off the track when you hit them, making the track more difficult as you progress. You fall off this track, you're falling into an endless abyss forever and ever. Or at least that's what I thought when I was a wee baby. Wee baby. This shortcut always screws me over if I don't have a mushroom. This track also has one of the most batshit insane shortcuts in all of Mario Kart. This game is so stupid. Another short track, but a good one nonetheless. Feeling another B tier. More like Mario Boardway. Mario Raceway is mid. If you're introducing someone to Mario Kart for the first time, somehow, just have them play this track. It's fine. Yeah, that's about all I gotta say. Bottom of C tier, bordering extremely close to a D tier. In my mind, this track is really boring and not very fun to play on. In reality though, it's actually not that bad. While the layout of the track is overall nothing too special, what makes the track fun is the fact that the ice is really freaking slippery. And it forces you to think more carefully on when and how hard you turn and drift and all that. These long bits of land would be boring in any other track, but it's fun in this track because of the ice mechanic. This track also has these little corners that I like to jump over. Or try to. Are you serious? These little penguins gonna be a pain in the butt, especially this little fuckwad on this turn. It's like Moonview Highway, except there aren't 500 other penguins that you have to drive past on the track. I'm feeling a light B tier. In my mind, this track is really boring and not very fun to play on. In reality though, I'm actually completely right. This track fucking stinks! The whole atmosphere of the track is really boring. There's no people in the sidelines to cheer you on. The little crab guys are really annoying, and the layout of the track is actual dog shit. There's a section of the race where you have to hop on the little chunks of land in order to keep up your momentum, but it sucks because if your tire hits even a centimeter of the water, your momentum completely shuts down and you go from 1st to 12th in a millisecond. I don't know if this is a skill issue kind of deal, but I'm just gonna blame the devs because I don't feel like taking responsibility. Even the music of the track can't save this one. It's pretty bland and forgettable, especially when comparing it to the variety of other amazing themes in this game. I'm feeling a very strong F tier for this track. Delfino Square shares a lot of similarities with Maple Treeway in my mind, in the way that both tracks have a really peaceful atmosphere while also containing a really creative layout and some very fun ideas. The music of this track is absolutely fantastic. I feel like I'm on vacation and I'm driving around and witnessing all the scenery. My favorite part of the track is at the end, where you jump over the bridge and do all these tight turns before the finish line. It's really satisfying for some reason. I also love these alternate paths you can take near the beginning here, especially the one with the stairs. I love hopping down it. I'm feeling a solid A tier for this course. Waluigi Stadium is an extremely fun track to ride on. It feels like every 5 seconds you're doing a trick off of a hill, or dodging a big obstacle by doing a trick off the half pipes, or using a mushroom to drive through the big blotches of mud that can be found all over the track. The music of the track is really fun, and I really like driving over these tiny bumps for some reason near the beginning. Yeah, there's not really much else to say. It's just a solid track. Feeling another A tier for this one. Shut up! Desert Hills foreshadows the quality of the track in its title, Deserted, as in there's not much to take away from it. It's a fine track, but it's pretty boring, other than this one area near the end that I actually really like a lot, where you do all these really tight turns on these hills. It's extremely fun. Once again, not a whole lot to say about this one. I'm feeling a C tier. Surprisingly enough, I actually really enjoy this track. I really like the atmosphere of the course, what with a massive thunderstorm in the background that you can barely see over the massive walls surrounding the lava and the track. Dodging all of these thwomps while taking these really tight turns is also extremely fun, and I've only managed to make it on the wall of the course by hopping off these yellow things about 4 times in my entire life. Home field advantage, fuck you. I'm giving this one a B tier. DK Jungle Parkway is a great track, even if it doesn't really have much to offer other than wide open roads and really pretty visuals. I love whenever a Mario Kart track is a sunset in the background. For whatever reason, it makes the track 40 times prettier. I like the long circle that you need to drive on that gets you to the dash panel that takes you to the other side, and I especially love using mushrooms to drive up the hill near the end of the track so you can just skip that entire turn. This boat is cool. The track isn't anything too crazy, but it's a good track nonetheless. Another B tier. Funny enough, the superior Mario Circuit from this game isn't even technically from this game. Despite seeming pretty boring on the surface, this track is actually a ton of fun to race on, as there were a plethora of twists and turns that keep you on your toes the entire race and keeps up this really frantic energy throughout. I love driving past this chain chomp. Sometimes I like to get risky and drive really close to it, but I didn't do it in this session because I got too scared. My favorite part of the track has got to be this part near the end with the big ass bumps that you can do tricks off of. I especially love it when you get a big enough boost to hop over this patch of grass here so you can keep up your momentum and finish the race in style. Hey, speaking of there being more than one Mario Circuit, I gotta say, there are a lot of Mario themed tracks in this game. Mario Circuit, GCN Mario Circuit, SNES Mario Circuit 3 coming up next, N64 Mario Raceway. Hell, on DK Summit, a Donkey Kong themed track, there's a statue of Mario, who you might know is not Donkey Kong, and in DK Jungle Parkway, which, as you may recall from 30 seconds ago, is also a Donkey Kong themed track, the boat is labeled as Mario's. What the fuck is Mario's problem? I'm feeling a nice A tier for this track. Mario Circuit 3 is a pretty good course. I like the rainbow color design of the walls, and I really love how tight this turn is. If you don't drift early enough, you're gonna be screwed. I really like the music of this course for some reason. It's really nostalgic, even though I never played the original Mario Kart in the SNES growing up. It just has that nostalgic quality to me for whatever reason. Anyways, this track is pretty good. Feeling a B tier. Huh, guess Mario Circuit wasn't very superior after all. Peach Garden continues the trend of the most creatively designed courses in this game, also having the most relaxing music and atmosphere. I didn't really like this track when I was a young lad, maybe because it was Peach's garden and girls are gross and have cooties, but now I actually really enjoy it. I love the variety of different paths that you can take with all these bushes and the chain chomps hopping around the place, and the shortcut here near the beginning is always really satisfying to take if you have a mushroom. The shortcut potential in general on this course is insane, and it's also really satisfying to drive down this flight of stairs near the end. I'm feeling a pretty decent A tier on this one. Now, if you want a track with a creative layout that is not relaxing, look no further than DK Mountain. I absolutely love how you're driving downwards for most of the track, and then when you make it past the finish line, you drive up and get shot out of the cannon to drive back down again. It's like being a little kid on a slide, sliding down and then climbing up the ladder to slide down all over again. Whew. Dodging these tumbling rocks is really fun, since you never really know when and where they're gonna show up, and the part of the beginning where you're jumping off the wooden ramps is extremely fun as well. This is also the location of that one clip where the guy gets hit by like 14 items in the last second on the bridge. Luckily, I didn't face any issues on this bridge during my session, but I'm not gonna lie to myself and act like I didn't get really nervous that something was gonna bone me at the last second. This track is getting a very nice A tier. And last, but certainly not least, the Lightning Cup ends on quite possibly one of the spookiest tracks in the game, N64 Bowser's Castle. Arguably one of the best Bowser Castle variants, N64 Bowser's Castle takes a much more eerie, creepy take to the track, with a busload of thwomps ready to smash you into a pancake and others that are just kind of stuck to the floor. This thwomp behind bars has always intrigued me. What did he get sent to prison for? Thwomps are already designed to kill people, so this implies that this particular thwomp did something so unforgivable that the other thwomps were like, ew, we gotta get this guy out of here. You can't be on a social club no more. This course is such a wide variety of different areas and obstacles to dodge, from the rooms with all the thwomps, to the indoor lava bridge, to the outdoor lava bridge, to the twisty turning ramp. This track is just really solid. I love how the castle takes place in what appears to be the abyss, and makes you feel like you're completely alone in trekking this labyrinth of obstacles and other crazy shit. For the final track of Mario Kart Wii, I'm feeling a very strong A tier. A great end to an amazing game. Mario Kart Wii is a game that I hold very dear to my heart. It's one of the very first video games that I ever played, or at least have any memory of playing. I've played this game for hours on end, both by myself and with friends and family, and this video was a really fun trip down memory lane. And with that, that's gonna do it for this video. This is definitely a bit different than my usual output of content. I'm currently branching out the variety of topics I want to cover for this channel, so let me know in the comments if you like this, and if you want to see me rank the tracks in other Mario Kart games. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.